Here's a quick video about ChatGPT scheduled tasks. I saw this Instagram video come across here, and they're talking about the different ways to use it. So I thought, oh right, that thing came out like a couple months ago and I forgot to get to it. So just doing a little video here to go over it. So scheduled tasks O3 and O4 mini are the models that you can use to schedule tasks. I did find through my testing that O3 is significantly better. If you look at the description, O3 uses advanced reasoning, O4 mini fastest at advanced reasoning. So I actually find O3 does a lot better job just getting better results and summarizing them a little bit better. So I would recommend when you start a new scheduled task to use O3. It's pretty simple to set up. I need you to set up a weekly task every Sunday at 9 a.m. I did find that using your time zone is important. Sometimes it would not know what time zone to get, and then you'd have to go back in and change it. So always give it your time zone. You then tell it what you want it to do. So I said use your web search, find the best things for parents of young children in Central Ohio. I also found that telling it how many sources to get is helpful. It's an interesting thing because if you are too specific with it, it'll churn and have trouble. But for some reason, sources is the one thing that you want to say how many you want. So I might have even said later, try to get 5 to 8 sources. So make sure you have the number of sources listed in there. But some of the things that I did that were a problem, like on this dinner one, I said things like within the last week, like try to get recipes within the last week. Originally, I said that. And then I said try to get protein over 25 grams, try to get the time under 45 minutes. And it just didn't really do a good job. It kept on getting into cycles where it would go around and not eventually get to the place that it needed to be. So do specify the number of results that you want, but do not be too prescriptive on the content of those results. So that's how you create them. You'll see that it creates this little thing here. You can actually click that to view it, to change the schedule. It has some pretty decent scheduling options, including this custom one, but this one, you can't pick it. You have to actually go ask it to do it. So do this every 3 weeks on Tuesday. It'll figure that out, but you have to do that through the chat instead. So you'd have to go in here and actually just type, do it every 3 weeks on Tuesday. But then you have this tasks view that you get, and you get 10 of these, so you can do up to 10. It's not super powerful. I do think the best use of it is probably using it for web searches. They give advice. They say like, oh, remind me to practice my Spanish, or, remind me to go to the gym. Or there was one that was give me a motivational speech each morning that's based on what you know about me. That seems kind of good because with one of the recent releases of ChatGPT, it knows a lot more about you. So it can be very specific to you. It might even know your goals if you told ChatGPT your goals. So you get up to 10 of these guys, and it's pretty simple from there. One thing you will notice is that whatever you put into here, it will then convert that into its own version of a task. So it might not always get exactly what you need. You have to come in here and then edit this little tiny box. I found it better to copy this out, use another text editor, and then paste it back in because this tiny box cannot be expanded. And then from there, it just runs. To do some testing, you can either modify it to do it within the next minute, or you can go to the chat itself and you could say something like, show me an example right now. That works pretty well. Another thing that I found is that if you ask it for, I don't think I have any of these chats available to show, but if you ask it for, show me the URL as you find stuff, or provide sources, it actually tries to do it in line with the message instead of doing this kind of like little capsule here, this little tag here. So I find it better to not tell it to give you the sources, and it'll just give you the sources. And again, that's an O3 thing. O3 does a better job on that than the O4 mini does. And same thing with format. So careful on the format that you ask it to do. In some of these here, I've asked it to do like HTML output, and it does okay, but sometimes it gets a random URL that does not exist. So again, O3 does a better job, but sometimes, let's see this one. If I just paste this in here, yeah, this might not go to the right one. I'm not really sure, but some of them are just straight up 404s. So careful with the formatting output too, for the same reason. If you just say, give me the sources, it will usually just give you those little capsules, which is a lot better than asking it to put the source inline into your response. And then finally, the last thing is the email that you get is kind of trash. So this is the email you get, task updates, top family events, and then it basically just takes you to the message. So it's kind of interesting. It works pretty decently, but I think you could probably even, with a little bit of effort, do a API call that did something a little bit better, maybe even to Perplexity instead of to ChatGPT. So kind of a neat little feature, but right now it's a little bit not fleshed out. So give it a try and see if it works for you. I am going to keep the ones that I have, the send me some family events, send me some prompt engineering tips each week, whatever it finds. I think in this one, let's see, posted within the last month is what I said. So I do want it to be pretty relevant or recent because AI changes so quickly. But in this case, I didn't want it to be only 7 days because I found that to be kind of restrictive. So I'll probably keep that one. I'll keep my what's coming up this week one for my family and email me recipes so that way I can have fresh ideas each week without having to go search the web. So try it out and hopefully it works for you.